We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.
It is Wednesday afternoon, the third day of the month of August. Inspector General Police orders massive deployment of additional operatives to ensure FCT security. NDLEA confirms uncovering toxic meth lab in VGC Estate, Lagos. Also making headlines outside the country, U.S. warns of possible retaliation over Al-Qaeda leader's death. And there's more in business, sports, and entertainment. Welcome again. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is currently participating in the Federal Executive Council meeting virtually following his discharge from a Lagos-based hospital, the Duchess Hospital. Osinbajo recently underwent a surgical procedure on his femur. The Vice President's Senior Special Assistant on Media, Laolu Akonde, had said the Professor of Law had an injury following a game of squash. A statement released by the medical director of the Duchess Hospital, Dr. Adedoyin Dosunmu Ogunbi, noted that the procedure was performed by a team comprising 6 specialist doctors. Tweeting via his official Twitter handle this morning, the special advisor on media to the Vice President noted that Osinbajo joined today's FEC meeting virtually. In a bid to allay the fears of residents in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, concerning the recent perceived security threats, the Inspector General Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered massive deployment of additional police operatives and operational assets within the metropolis and its environs. According to a statement from the force, the move is to solidify the security and protection of lives and property of its residents, critical national assets, and vulnerable facilities, as well as road users plying routes in and around the FCT. The IGP made the charge during the force management team meeting at his office while receiving general security updates on the nation. In the meantime, the Inspector General is currently meeting with all commissioners of police and other senior officers in the country in Abuja, still on security matters. 5 hostages who were taken on the 28th of March aboard an Abuja-Kaduna train have been set free by their captors. It is, however, not clear if any money was paid to the terrorists to release their abducted victims. A member of the negotiating team, Tuka Mamu, gave the names of the 5 released hostages as Professor Mustafa Umar Imam, who's a medical doctor at Usman Dan Fodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto, Kibu Lawal, Abubakar Ahmed Rufai Mukhtar, Shuaib, and Sidi Aminu Sharif. So far, 37 victims have regained freedom. The number of those still in captivity now stands at 35. One of the just released passengers of the train attack, Dr. Mustafa Imam, has, in the meantime, recounted his ordeal in captivity, saying he was the official medical doctor in the bandits' den. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, has confirmed it busted a crystal methamphetamine lab, otherwise known in local parlance as Murumiri, in the Victoria Garden City, the VGC estate of Lekki, Lagos, following a document which had been circulating online about the said discovery. Speaking in a press conference, Chairman and Chief Executive of the NDLEA, Muhammad Buba Marwa, had added that another meth lab had also been busted in Anambra State. Marwa said following the outbreak of crystal methamphetamine abuse in the last quarter of 2021, predominantly in the southeast, and the cry for help in the region, the agency deployed all available assets to find the primary source of manufacturing of the drug in Nigeria and arrest the barons behind it. He said efforts in the past 7 months against the cartel have led to the arrest of 4 kingpins and a cook or a chemist.
Inform the public today that after months of painstaking intelligence gathering, we recorded a breakthrough on Saturday, July 30th, 2022, when officers and men of the agency successfully busted 2 methamphetamine manufacturing facilities called Meth laboratories. The first laboratory, located in Victoria Garden City, VGC Estate of Lagos, is owned by a Baron, Chris Emeka Nzewi, while the second was owned by Paul Ozoimana. The owners of these 2 illicit meth laboratories were successfully arrested
Marwa also disclosed that waste from methamphetamine production is dangerous to the ecosystem, being toxic.
These two laboratories out of operation is a major feat in our continuing efforts to curb the methamphetamine problem. This operation also exposed the interconnectivity among syndicates involved in meth production. For instance, the coup was hired by both producers. It produced for the VGC lab as well as for the lab in Anambra State, the same person. As we step up the offensive against drug traffickers, we want the public to be more vigilant and be aware of the facts that producers of methamphetamine always choose unsuspecting environments with tight security, like the VGC estate in this case.
That was the Chairman Chief Executive of the NDLEA, Mohammed Buba Marwa, speaking. The vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Kashim Shettima, has assured Nigerians that if elected, Bola Tinubu's administration will be just, fair, and inclusive to all Nigerians, irrespective of tribal, religious, and political affiliations. He was speaking on Tuesday at the one-year memorial service for Dr. Emmanuel Abiodun, father of the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, held at the St. James Anglican Church, Ikenne, local government area in Ogun State. While calling for the rebirth of a new nation, Kashim Shettima commended the Southwest for their religious tolerance and generosity, where people are judged by the content of their character, competence, and ability, urging other parts of the country to emulate such for peace and development. Still in Ogun State, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has lamented the rising cost of diesel, saying it has adversely affected his fishery business. Speaking during the Southwest Fish Farmers Congress at the Presidential Library in Ogun State, Obasanjo said the high diesel price may turn fish farmers into bankruptcy, putting the current price of diesel at 800 naira a litre. The former president said the production of a kilogram of fish is 1,400 naira. In a statement by his media aide, Kehinde Akiyemi, Obasanjo was quoted as saying farmers must not sell less than 1,500 naira, as anything short of that would lead to outright loss. The management of Kaduna State University has resumed the second semester of the 2020-2021 academic session for its undergraduate and postgraduate students, more than 5 months after the strike action by the ASU. The resumption is for the continuation of the second semester exams, which was suspended due to the ASU strike, which commenced in February this year. The acting VC of Kaduna State University, Professor Abdullahi Ashafa, had explained that the school does not have any industrial disputes with the local branch of ASU. Hence, there is no need to continue keeping the students at home. He warned that there will be severe consequences for students and lecturers who fail to resume the classes as directed by the university management. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has said it's imperative to address the pertinent issues of climate change because of its pivotal impact on the key economic area of agriculture, health, and sustainable socio-economic growth. The governor stated this at the 9th Lagos State Climate Change Summit, with focus on integrating climate change actions in Lagos development, investment opportunities, and trade-offs, which ends today. While declaring the summit open, the governor, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Kadiri Obafemi Hamzat, noted that the Lagos State Climate Action Plan has started yielding great and impactful results, including attracting the attention of critical supporters and partners from the UK.
There is a recently awarded grant for the future cities of Nigeria by the UK government to the Lagos State Waterways Authority to improve the ferry services of the state. That's because of the study that we carried out that showed clearly that we need to reduce transportation by road, improve our rail transportation, which we are moving on, and then, of course, water transportation, and also our ferry services.
You're still listening to news at noon, and now the international scene, where a government spokesman in the Democratic Republic of Congo has suggested that a withdrawal of UN peacekeepers from the country could be brought forward. Protests against the UN mission, the second largest in the world, turned into deadly violence over the last 2 weeks with more than 20 deaths. The crisis escalated on Sunday when 2 peacekeepers opened fire, killing 3 civilians and injuring 15 at a border crossing near Uganda. The DR Congo government spokesman Patrick Muyaya told newsmen that ongoing talks between the government and the UN mission, known as MONUSCO, could quicken the withdrawal of the peacekeepers. Elsewhere, the U.S. has urged its citizens to be vigilant against possible anti-American violence abroad following the killing of Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri. According to the State Department, al-Zawahiri's death could prompt Al-Qaeda supporters or other linked terror groups to target U.S. facilities and personnel. Zawahiri, who had helped mastermind the 9/11 attacks on the U.S., in which nearly 3,000 people lost their lives, was killed in the Afghan capital Kabul on Sunday. The 71-year-old Egyptian doctor took over Al-Qaeda after the death of Osama bin Laden in 2011. Business news: the federal government has disclosed that it disbursed 66 billion naira to 1.2 million Nigerians under its micro, small and medium enterprises, the MSME Survival Fund, and guarantee off-taking scheme. Medium Katagom, Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, at a town hall meeting with beneficiaries of the scheme, noted that the scheme was born out of the need to stimulate the economy post-pandemic. Katagum added that the scheme created production opportunities for MSMEs and provided conditional grants to distressed businesses and self-employed individuals who were strained with the payment of salaries during the COVID-19 pandemic. And now the exciting world of sports, where goal stopper Dean Henderson has described Manchester United's treatment of him last season as criminal. The England international, who joined promoted Nottingham Forest on a season-long loan deal after failing to usurp David De Gea at Old Trafford, said he was left fuming over his lack of game time. In an interview, Dean Henderson said he was told he would be the #1 last term, but missed Euro 2020 owing to injury and contracted COVID-19 at the start of the campaign. The goalkeeper played only 3 times in all competitions for Old Trafford last season. Premier League players will stop the pre-match anti-racism gesture of taking the knee before every match. Top-flight clubs started taking the knee to support the Black Lives Matter movement, which rose to prominence following the death of George Floyd in the U.S. in May 2020. The gesture will instead be seen before certain rounds of games, including the Boxing Day fixtures and cup finals. Players and staff will also take the knee before the first and last matches of the 2022-2023 campaign, as well as dedicated No Room for Racism match rounds in October and March. Premier League captains took the decision after consulting with players. Entertainment news: Beyoncé has updated her latest album Renaissance in response to criticism from fans and the pop star Kellis. The song Heated has received a lyrical update, removing a slur that is often used to demean people with spastic cerebral palsy. In place of the so-called S-word, Beyoncé now sings Blast. Meanwhile, a reference to Kelly's hit Milkshake has also disappeared from the Renaissance album after the singer complained she had not given permission for its use. The updates happened on streaming services including Spotify, Tidal, and Apple overnight on Tuesday, just 5 days after Renaissance was released. And that's the news. A recap of the top stories again. IGP orders massive deployment of additional operatives to ensure FCT security. NDLEA confirms uncovering toxic meth lab in VGC Estate, Lagos. And we told you on the international scene, the US warns of possible retaliation over Al-Qaeda leader's death. Thanks again for staying with us, and do have yourself a wonderful afternoon. I'm Victor Njok.
We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.